So there's a new series coming to A&E. It's called The Secrets of Playboy, and we're going to talk about it.
You know, let me start things off. I think it is so ironic that here we are, the free speech forum, and that filters into freedom to write things, put things in print, put things out. And Playboy magazine, I remember when that thing was brought out, and you talking about turning everything on its head. People didn't know what to do with it. And here's this dashing, good-looking young guy in a suit, smoking a pipe, looking like the paragon of virtue.
Yeah.
And he's bringing out this men's magazine called Playboy. Brilliant marketing and a beautiful girl on the front, and you know, they used to have them wrapped up. They'd turn them around backwards in stores, and it was just a sensation that
Yeah, they had
just
the black paper over them, right? So
yeah,
people couldn't even see them.
it's like it sent a shockwave through everything. And I remember Johnny Carson, the talk shows, everybody was mentioning. He was even getting on the news about what was going on with it, and church groups were up and on it.
Yeah.
Oh, and
Have Bible studies about it.
and protecting the children. And I'll say this last thing, and then turn it over to one of you guys. But the thing I got the biggest kick out of is, especially like with Carson and comedians, or something. Oh yeah, I look at Playboy, but I just read the articles. I don't look at the pictures.
Well, that's the same reason I go to Pornhub just to read the comments. So
Oh, yeah, right.
let's see this video.
There was a side of Playboy that nobody wants to talk about.
He was an advocate for sexual freedom and the First Amendment.
And he really did believe he owned these women.
There's some things that I never saw the light of day.
I didn't realize that getting into the Playboy world was a dangerous choice.
He didn't want people to know what was really going on.
I have extensive electronic equipment in the house, which includes videotape equipment. Sometimes things happen in the bedroom.
It was a beautiful world. It looked that way, but it was really.
So that makes,
Was he filming in the bedroom?
so this kind, when a lot of this Epstein stuff came out and the Q stuff came out, Hefner was brought up in it, and because supposedly Hefner was one of the original blackmailers, because he would have these politicians come in.
Oh.
He was so proud of his video equipment. Sounds just like Epstein was
Yeah.
talking about his extensive video equipment,
He had celebrities over to his grotto parties, every night.
And it just showed back in the 70s, all these video screens recording. I couldn't imagine how much dirt he had on people. So, Playboy, just a front for the CIA. Just one of the many fronts.
Yeah, it really was quite a sensation. And I'll tell you another thing I remember. I was pretty young, but if Playboy bunnies, they became something like goddesses, beyond a normal woman. I mean, you could be a knockout Raquel Welch on the screen of a big movie, but if somebody probably said in a crowd, hey, here comes two Playboy bunnies, Raquel would be standing over there by herself, and everybody would be headed toward the bunnies. It was just an amazing thing. And then the Playboy Club, man, when they started those, an offshoot of the magazine, that just, you had to go. And I was out in L.A. and I went to one of the Playboy clubs, and the beautiful women around. You think Hooters is they weren't the first horses out of the barn, and they had to carry the trays in special ways, and the little bunny ears, and oh my goodness, it was in an atmosphere. And man, you dressed up in there. You were in the Playboy bunny,
Tuxedo.
Oh, tuxes, suits. You did not go in there with a T-shirt and cutoffs on, man. They'd throw, you would be bumped right out. And it was just, and it was the beginning of a revolution. And then I remember there was also that big deal of when, can I say the nipple word on the podcast?
Yeah, I think you can
when
say
they,
that here.
Of course.
they started to ease into that. And then I think we all remember what was the next big magazine that came?
Hustler.
Penthouse.
Oh,
Yeah,
Penthouse.
Penthouse.
Penthouse. That's what it was.
and,
yeah.
and Guccione, Bob Guccione. I don't want to sound like I know these guys personally.
You're pretty familiar here, Bob.
But my buddy Bob, he
30-year
came
subscriber to
in
Playboy.
and he was like, "Okay, all right, so you got your lick in there, but I'm going further." And he hit it real hard with some pretty hardcore stuff, and it ended up including men in the magazine. And some things like that. So he pushed it so far, and then Hustler came along, which was totally tasteless, and it just started a whole pornographic revolution.
Totally tasteless would be softcore and mild these days.
Oh yeah, it'd be a joke.
That's
Yeah.
the thing about Playboy. It was kind of tasteful.
Tasteful nudes.
Well,
even-
they didn't. Sometimes they're not. They were fully clothed.
Yeah.
Well-
oh yeah. I mean, and it's. I mean, I know what you're talking about. Like, it still was the standard.
And there was another thing in there. I mean, top stars, big name people. If you had the featured Playboy interview article, that was just cool.
Yeah.
There was no stigma attached to that. It's like, oh, you're in the upcoming Playboy? Yeah. What are you talking about? Well, we're talking about the so-and-so, so-and-so.
The
Whoa.
freespeechforum.com. We're talking about it in the latest Playboy.
Yeah, and so it was like, cool. Because the position and the other articles in there, they had stuff that truly did interest men. There weren't pornographic stories in there.
Yeah.
But you'd finish a nice, cool article about a brand new car or something. You'd flip the page, and there's one of the most best-looking women you've ever seen in your life.
Well,
And-
there's been a lot of actresses that this has made their career. Like when you think about Pamela Anderson or
It did.
Carmen Electra, those that really took off. She was in Baywatch, but then they took Playboy and it took
Yep.
the career to the next level. So they become like an icon.
Yeah,
almost.
they did. And, the Playboy Mansion sat on Sunset Boulevard, and it had probably, I'd say,
I've seen it in person. You can take a celebrity tour.
What was
and
it?
see celebrity houses, and you can ride right by it in Beverly Hills.
Wow.
Aren't the walls about 20 feet tall?
I saw it from the road, so it was a huge
Yeah,
house. Though.
huge
it's
walls.
definitely a mansion.
And were the nude Greek-looking goddesses on the corners at that time?
I think so.
Well, when I lived there, I think he turned it over to his daughter, and he was easing out of it a little bit. It was in the
This is like
80s.
late. Okay.
And then a Sheikh Mohammed something, bought it. And one of the first things he did was the nude statues, he had them painted realistic. They weren't classical marble anymore. And it just, I don't know if he had so much money he wanted to give it the finger or if he really thought he was doing something that was artistic on his own right to make it his own. But anyhow.
That's an interesting fact.
Yeah.
You want to jump back in this?
Let's see.
video?
Yeah.
When you get someone that powerful, anything could happen. Anything.
I wouldn't trade places with anyone else in the world.
His legacy should
of course
comprise
not.
the whole story.
The people who are really there, they're the ones who know the real truth.
Secrets of Playboy.
It looks
so-
interesting. I think it's coming out in January of 22, so won't be long.
Is that going to be like on the actual TV channel or
Yeah,
some
it's on
streaming
A&E.
service?
A&E.
Okay.
A&E.
And
Well-
I assume that's Discovery as well. I think they own that.
Well, I might have to pencil in some time for that one. I mean, and really mainly because it looks interesting, some of the history behind it.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
We've got another video here, and this is focused more on Holly Madison and like some of the late Playboy stars. So
I got to a point not too far into my time there. I think I was only like 6 months in where I kind of broke under that pressure and being made to feel like I needed to look exactly like everybody else. My hair was really long naturally, and I was just like, I'm gonna go chop my hair off so I can at least look a little different. I came back with short hair, and he flipped out on me, and he was
Seems a little bit
screaming at
controlling.
me and said it made me look old, hard, and cheap.
He's right. Look
He
at
was
that pimp.
very unhappy about it.
Wow.
It's the Matrix sunglasses
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
His world.
Hef would be pretty abrasive in the way he said things to Holly. She came down with red lipstick one time and he like flipped out and said he hated red lipstick on girls, that they need to take it off right away. Even though other people could wear red lipstick and it didn't seem to bother him. It was very frustrating to live with every day, all of the drama that was going on and the tensions. I could definitely see that she was getting depressed and sad, and her demeanor was starting to change.
I remember there were times, probably within the first couple years I lived there, when I felt like I was just in this cycle of gross things and I didn't know what to do.
Secrets of Playboy premieres Monday, January 24th at 9.
So there's all this like woe is me attitude, but these girls are making bank. I mean, they're not into this because they've
They're
been
millionaires because of this.
I mean, yeah, they're
there
not.
was a show that came out. It's called the Playboy Bunnies, and it was out on E, and it was like the mid 2000s. It made those three girlfriends like entirely famous.
Yeah, so I mean, oh poor me, but they're probably making more money off this.
You know, they find those girls, and I can tell you right now, from behind the scenes, that I've been on some production sets in Hollywood, but not with anything like this, but other shows that involved men and women and had a sexual energy to it, and the producer would come in and say, look, we got a show to put on, you understand? We're here to entertain people. I don't want any of this, and I don't want any of that. And if we do this, we're going to cut you out. We're going to stop, and you're out the door.
Yeah.
And so you can bet that they really highly directed a lot of this
They
stuff.
have to make it controversial,
oh,
right?
Man, yeah. Oh, and one other thing before we close that I thought was so funny. Do you guys remember all the jokes and the talk that came out when Viagra was introduced?
Yeah.
And everybody said, oh, my God, Hefner's got another shot at it.
No more taking shots.
There was one joke about he'd eat it on his cereal.
Blue pill. All he needs is a blue pill.
I can't blame him with all those women around him.
Oh, Lord. Oh, those were crazy days.
Well,
Crazy days.
thank you guys for watching. We might have to
so much.
We might have to come back and give our review of the Secrets of Playboy.
We'll have to do
so
that. Come to the Free Speech Forum, right?
Yeah, come to the freespeechforum.com. If you're lucky, you might get invited to the secret forum where we have lots of tasteful nudes. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. See you guys.
See you next time.
Take care.